Hello everyone, this is Blankara and welcome to my universe. Today we're going to continue rigging Shalom from Path to Nowhere. So last time I made some more progress on fixing up the hair for the right head turn. And starting off today, there's a couple of corrections that I want to make. Just don't quite feel like this highlight right here is in the right spot. Just like the very top of it there. It felt like it was moving upward a little bit. Because as always, my present self is much pickier than my past self. Always manages to find a thing or two that could be improved. Autosave saying hello at the start of the stream today. So hello there, Autosave. Because I have a pretty powerful computer, so I don't need to leave the program off. A lot of the times I'll actually just keep it on all day, every day. And sometimes I'll take a look at things off stream, but I never actually change anything. I just take a look, especially if I'm stuck on something. That's why sometimes I will have revelations at the start of stream, because I did indeed take a look throughout the day, and sometimes look up some stuff to help me out and figure out where I was going wrong. Have not needed to do that recently though, so things have been going pretty well. This is just a matter of getting all the details in the right place. I know roughly what I have to do. It's just a matter of doing it. Alright, and then hopefully we'll finish up the right head turn today, and I can get started on the left. I'm just being particular as always. This little strand just needs a little bit more attention, and I'm sure everything will be fine. It's like if I'm gonna take all this time to go back and really fix up everything that I've been working on, then I might as well do it right. Make sure everything is just the way I want it to be. Alright. And then there was some stuff around this highlight. That little guy right over there, but it's not as bad. And in fact, I have a little bit of a hard time seeing it sometimes, but I think the center is still just a little bit too high. So I probably just need to do something like that. Only a little bit. It was mostly in the right place. Just a little bit off there. And it is day 19 of Inktober. I can hardly believe that I've been able to draw something every day and finish it and post it on the internet for 18 days straight now, with today being the 19th. And I've even made videos for each and every one. So now I have a bunch of shorts on the channel too. I very obsessively look at my analytics to try to figure out which things are working and which things are not. I have insufficient data to really figure out too much yet. But the shorts have indeed brought in a lot of new viewers. So that's been nice. It's like, prior to that, I'd say the average video I made, if you're including the stream VODs, would get maybe 20 or 30 views on average. Occasionally one does really well, it gets like 70, and those are always exciting. But I'd say 20 or 30 is pretty average. And a lot of my shorts are actually getting like 400, which is wild to me. So, that's been nice. Look, not gonna lie, even though I enjoy drawing and making stuff for its own sake, attention is nice too. I don't think I'll ever say no to people enjoying what I'm making. It's a very special kind of feeling. Very humbling in a lot of ways. I'm never quite sure how to respond to it. So let's just go back to working on this model for now. I'd been meaning to adjust the strand for a while, but I wanted to make sure that I had the connecting hair here, especially this top part, in the right place. So this way I would know exactly where the bottom of this strand is supposed to connect. Exactly where it's gonna go. I'm not sure if that's the right shape, but I figured I'd try it there. It is not. I think this is going to be another time where I have to consult the mesh a little bit. Because there's something in one of these angles here that I'm not getting right that I really need to. Okay. So these are separating very hard. Oh yeah, there we go. That was the kind of shape I was looking for. I was just having trouble finding it. But as always, the mesh is full of wisdom. Knows exactly what to do. Okay, I think I might have actually got this backwards. Because let's see, with it this way, yeah, if I turn the strand, then I should see more of the part with the little black bit in the middle. So I actually want this to be a little bit wider. A little bit more prominent. Make it look like this little strand is twisting in a little bit of a different way here. Let's see if I can get that twist just the way I want it to be. I suppose if I wanted to capture it perfectly, I would have actually needed to separate this into 2 layers. Notes for the future. That might actually be worth doing for a strand right front and center of the hair. As always, I am particular in the things that are on, like, I'd say bust up, waist up, that kind of general area. Even more particular when it comes to the head, and even more particular when it comes to things near the face. And a front bang is very much near the face. So there's like 3 layers of perfectionism there. So that's why I say for this, it might actually be worth the extra separation. But I didn't do that, and it's not so large that I want to go back and just change everything, so this should be fine for now. Fine for this model. Alright, now I think I need to pull this down just a little bit. I saw the slightest hint of a bald spot, and that's just not something I want here. Not at all. And then I was adjusting that kind of pink area there. It's supposed to be mostly behind that strand, so I wanted it to send it back in that direction. Okay, I think that's good. Now, I think when I moved the center of that underneath area, the area underneath the bangs, I think I sent it a little bit too far to the right. So I need to adjust that again. That's okay, finding the center of hair like this is always a little bit difficult for me. I wouldn't be surprised if it takes me a couple more tries, but I'll do my best. There we go. Yeah, something like that. I think that's a little bit better. Let me just clean up this edge here. I think I'm actually going to go ahead and hide the shadows again. They're getting in the way of me seeing properly, I think. This stuff has moved around enough that they're not really in the right spot, and I just keep seeing some sliding here and there, and it is very distracting. I always like to clear up as many distractions as I can. Alright. Let's see, I think I might have made the bottom a little bit wrinkly. Yes, I did. But how is the top? Top, I'd say, is doing much better. Okay, so let's fix that little mistake I made at the bottom there. Get that shaped just right. Make it nice. All that stuff right there is especially important because it's like right next to her eyes. Eyes are very important. And that's where people are going to be looking. At the eyes and probably the mouth too. Because when it comes to models like this, those are the areas that are, you know, even besides it just being a face and humans' eyes being drawn toward faces in general, it's also the part that's going to be moving the most. Like if this was going to be used by a real VTuber and not just mostly sitting on my hard drive for whenever I feel like occasionally bringing it out to have some fun. It's, the eyes and the mouth are going to be the parts that move the most. Between blinking and talking. Occasionally you get a little bit of head movement and that kind of thing, but for the most part, blinking and talking. That's what will move the most. And even though I'm going to be very particular on these the hair physics and stuff once I get to that part, even I acknowledge that they're more fun than important. I'd say they do more to make a showcase look good than the actual streamer. Alright, I was just taking a look at the bottom of the connecting hair here. And I feel like it was going upward a bit. That's why I was going back and forth a bit there. Just need to drop that part right on down, I think. Yeah, that's much better. I wonder if that's part of what I was seeing with this strand when I didn't want to work on it yesterday. Because I could tell there was something wrong, but I was having trouble pinpointing what it was. Rigging still tires me out so quickly. And my brain loses its ability to really see anymore after doing it for, I don't know, probably about an hour. Near the end of that hour, I'm starting to get pooped, man. Rigging is hard. It's alright, it's all the more reason that I should keep doing it. Keep practicing. Keep seeing what I can figure out and learn. Because after all, if I hadn't learned quite a bit since starting this project, I would not be here trying to make fine adjustments to the left and right head turns. I would consider them just fine. Autosave here, trying to help me out again. Ah, has it been that long already? I guess it has. I have autosave to save every 15 minutes, so it'll give me a good idea of how long I'm taking on everything. I guess 15 minutes to fix up all those corrections that I wanted to make wasn't so bad. So I'm just being very gentle with the movements here. Very, very gentle. I don't want to overdo it. I'm just trying to get the right angle on some of these areas here. Let it fan out as it was meant to. While still being nice and thin. And very reflective of how the head is turning here. Still have it kind of start fading into the background. Oh yeah, I think that looks pretty nice. Man, makes me wonder why I was so afraid of it yesterday. That wasn't so bad at all. I'm gonna go hide a couple of strands here. Because it's while I think they're rigged fine and they look okay, I want to see how this moves without this strand right here. But first I have to find it. Where are you? Connecting. Is it this one? There we go. I just want to take a quick look, because I feel like I'm seeing some shifting, and I want to make sure that it's actually on that layer, and not on one of the ones around it. Because sometimes I can get a little confused, and that just happens. And indeed, I do think that the shifting I am seeing is on this layer. It's nothing super major. But nonetheless, I still want to fix it and make it better. Ask the mesh for its wisdom real quick. See if it can work out where some of these problems that I'm seeing are coming from. Because the mesh is just always full of great ideas. So, one of the other gacha games that I play, or more accurately, tower defense games that I play, is Arknights. I played Arknights before I played Path to Nowhere even. In fact, you could say that I probably would not have played Path to Nowhere if it were not for Arknights. Because I've never been super into gacha, and I've never been super into mobile games in general. But Arknights was pretty good, and it kind of was what made me willing to give other mobile games a chance. And the mechanics for the current event are pretty funny. With the way you can basically stretch obstacles for the enemies to run into. All over the map. Just gotta place your operators right. And it's pretty funny. There's one enemy in particular that makes me laugh every time I see it. There's like a giant bunny-like creature. And when it hits one of the chains that you're able to put down, it just flops onto its belly and gets stunned. It's very funny, and the animation for it is absolutely perfect. Makes me laugh every time. Even just picturing that derpy little face is making me laugh. So yeah, I've been having... I am no longer a story reader, so I didn't actually go through and read it, even though I'm somewhat curious about the events that this event is supposed to cover. I just cannot right now, so... It's okay if I ever get curious later. I'm sure it'll be in probably Intermezzi at some point, or I can always find it on YouTube. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. We shall see. But the event mechanics, at least, A+. I love them. While I was running through the basic stages, I mostly ignored it. Because I was very tired that day. I think I got like 5 hours of sleep. But I played the game with my husband, so I still wanted to run through my stages real quick. Besides, I had to get to the farming stages. I needed gel so badly, so I was very happy to see that there was a gel stage here. But then when we went through and did my husband's stages together, he played the gimmick a lot more than I did, and we had a good time. Just making patterns with the chains and doing silly things. We did the extra stages on his account yesterday. And we were going to do mine today, and then I realized that I forgot to save sanity potions. Like a derp. I thought I saved one, but I did not. So we did half of mine today. We'll do the other half tomorrow. Because alas, between normal mode and challenge mode, it took all my sanity just to go through half the stages. That's alright. I will indeed just do the rest tomorrow. I am very much looking forward to the S stages, because a lot of the time those stages tend to be pretty hard, and they really make you make use of the gimmicks. So that'll be exciting, because this event's gimmick is really fun. Alright, and slowly but surely I'm making my way down the strand of hair. And hopefully that'll work out all the shifting. Let me take a look near the top there, because it's like I was only planning on doing it where I was seeing the shifting. But then when I looked at the mesh told me that there was more shifting happening further down. So I figured, well, let's keep going. Let's get rid of all the shifting. And yeah, now things are looking pretty good. I think I see a wrinkle underneath the bang here, though. So let's go hide that. Just so I can get that filled in. Yeah, little wrinkly spot right there. And part of that might also be the back here. So let's turn that off for a second. Just so I can see what I'm doing. Assuming I can find the strand I'm trying to edit here. I guess I should be using right click more like this, but sometimes I forget it exists. There we go. Now I can turn some things back on. And hopefully everything looks a bit better now. It's like, man, why was I so afraid of that strand yesterday? It was so easy. Like, look, it's already doing just fine. It seems perfectly satisfied with its life now. And I didn't even feel like I had to try that hard. I guess I'm just afraid from, like, nearly every other time I've had to work with it. Because, ooh boy, that strand can get very wily. I always have a bit of trouble getting it to where it needs to be, and never seems happy. But today I was feeling pretty chill. So it all worked out. Who knows, maybe near the end of all this time, it's finally starting to trust me. Or maybe I'm just starting to understand it a little bit better. Either or. And I think if this looks good, that will be the right head turn. And I can go back to correcting the left one. Okay, maybe a little bit more on the top of this. Guess that's why I had to specify if I have the strand right. There we go. There we go. Yeah, now I think everything is in its place. Doing just fine. No, I actually think that this lighter spot right here might be getting smaller. Yes, I should probably fix that. Just have it poof out a little bit there. I guess it's probably a bit of residue from when I was making this area super thin. Because such things need not apply to this part right on the top. That part doesn't need to get thin. That's not the part that recedes into the background. There we go. So something like that, perhaps. Just keep seeing all these little things as I keep working. That tends to be how it goes. What can I say? My brain is very picky about everything. Just wants everything to be nice. So the other day I had a few minutes and I decided to go ahead and read Raven's interrogation, because I do like Raven. I think she is very entertaining to watch. And it was okay. I can't really call it bad or anything. It was okay. Very wholesome, very cute. But that was about all there was to it, in my opinion. So, a very sweet, feel-good story. With the proper dose of tragic backstory that is necessary for most of the sinners here. I suppose the big thing that stopped me from being super satisfied with it was that I felt like it stopped part way with some of its ideas. Of just, give me just a moment to collect my thoughts there. But the idea of how history should be taught, and how the way history is taught can shape the ideas of the people that hear it, and how children should learn in order to properly understand the world that they're in. They definitely told it in a way that was, again, very cute, very sweet. And I don't think they necessarily, like, backed out on any of the ideas. They definitely did. They definitely did keep going, and ooh, like I said, this is a set of ideas that's a little bit difficult. I need to kind of collect my thoughts on it. Because trying to pinpoint exactly what made me a little bit unsatisfied is difficult. Because I wouldn't say that they didn't, like, walk through all the implications of it, like, They did have that one child that she was helping, straight up die. So it's like, it's not like they're, backing away from the implications of what they're trying to talk about here or anything. It just, I felt like it was a little bit shallow, I suppose. Because that is a very meaty subject, and I guess there's only so much you can do in a brief little interlude story in a gacha game. But trying to figure out the difference between what someone in East Side would learn versus what someone in Syndicate would learn history-wise was indeed an interesting topic of discussion. I guess it just also wasn't really the point there, and the point of... Okay, yeah, here we go. Now I'm starting to remember some of my thoughts there, of, how she would sensationalize the news and all of that stuff, and all the lies, and the way she could, well, not necessarily lies, even just the way the truth could be twisted and shifted and presented however you like. I don't feel like they dug into that idea very hard, and I thought that was a very interesting angle to go into when talking about teaching children history. Because it is an absolutely correct one. There's a saying that history is written by the winners. Or the victors is probably the more accurate term. And that ultimately means that ideas get spread by the people that are ultimately able to spread them. And that means that the ideas that don't get spread are eventually lost. Even if it is the truth that you're talking about there. And so because the wealthy people in East Side were the ones that were able to write books, make schools, and do all these things that would let them pass ideas to the next generation, they were ultimately the ones that got to write the history. And so I think it's naturally a good thing to let the schools that are trying to be built in Syndicate teach a history more relevant to them. But then early on, going in and having her effectively do some media manipulation to try to get what she wants. And coupling it with that very interesting combination of ideas that I don't think was very well explored, with Raven being part of the fraud group and being all about the spreading of ideas through making them more exciting. I think that there was a lot that they could have done with that, but they ultimately didn't. And I wouldn't say that they played it super safe or anything, they just kind of went a different route. They had a particular ending that they wanted to go for, and I think the tone that they were going for wouldn't necessarily be appropriate for that kind of thing, but it did feel like a little bit of a missed opportunity of a journalist into sensationalism and all of that. Trying to teach history, and a journalist talking about spreading ideas, wanting people to read her poems, and all of that stuff. Going into some of what that means. But I guess just focusing on that the history that East Side wrote was not what she wanted to teach the kids in Syndicate. And she wanted them to learn more about themselves too, and the heroes of Syndicate is probably good enough. It's a start. It just left me a little bit sad. I feel like there was a missed opportunity in there. It's the kind of thing that I could probably write about if I actually sat down and started typing something up. As opposed to just off-the-cuff rambling like I am now. Well, this is why I keep reading the writing. It's like, even if it doesn't always go into the places that I hope it does, it pretty much always throws something really interesting at me. Something that gives me something to think about, and I think that's very, very valuable. And makes it worth reading through all the text. It helps that Path to Nowhere is not written like Arknights and is expecting me to sit through a bunch of less exciting stuff before it gets to the good stuff. It jumps in right away. Pretty much everything is always relevant. So I appreciate that. I do hope that people that actually read the story and Path to Nowhere think about some of the ideas that are coming up in it, because some of them are quite interesting. And not stuff that I see in more mainstream gaming, let alone Chinese gacha games. They do a very good job dodging the censors. I'm actually wondering if the reason they couldn't go as hard into some of those ideas is because of because they had to dodge the censors, but well, it's all speculation. I don't know how strong the censorship is on ideas in text. Because most of the stuff that I see coming out of Chinese censorship nonsense is all that just are the girls too sexy. It's like, man, when I saw that the edits that they made Genshin Impact of all things, you know, a generally wholesome game. And I'm just like, they're complaining about a girl in a leotard? Like, really? They had to censor the leotard of all things. It's just so bizarre to me because, I don't know, I think that says more about the people calling for the censorship than it does the people designing the characters. Because, like, I don't know, if you walked into 6-year-olds in a ballet class, you'd see girls in leotards. It's not inherently sexual. So it's all just very, very strange to me. And I remember looking at Kokuleek's design change and just being like, oh, so she was just showing too much thigh, and I guess her lower half looked too much like underwear, and they didn't like that. I'm like, okay, I guess that's fair. No, I shouldn't say that. It's not fair. It's very silly, but... I'm like, okay then. I don't know. It just always struck me as very strange. As shy as I am, I'm also not a fan of pearl clutching. I just don't engage with media I don't like, and I think that's a fine way to live. People can enjoy those things that they want, it's okay. I don't think it makes them bad people. And the idea that someone seeing a girl in a leotard is gonna make them a sex addict or something is, very, very silly. Very, very, very silly. That is obviously not gonna happen. Lots and lots of things have to happen for such things to happen to someone's brain. It is not that simple. Okay. On to lighter subjects. I was looking at these highlights here, up on the bang here, and trying to get them into the right place. They're not quite there, but they're a lot closer than they were a few minutes ago. So I'll take it. I'll take it and keep pushing them around just a little bit more. See if it's a little bit easier to see them now that I'm not trying to remember all of my critiques for Raven's interrogation. Maybe someday I'll talk about all these in depth. I'm just not really sure how many people would be interested. Or if I'd have anything super insightful to say. I don't know. I think I probably have some interesting stuff to say. Just because I do appreciate the angle that they take on some of their characters. They go over things that I don't see many people do. Like, man, I still can't get over Toy Box Terror, Eve's event. Still have not read her interrogation. I should probably do that. And get the last little bit of her story, because the ending of that was just... I never see people talk about how kind of messed up it is and how much we lie to children and try to make the world seem better than it actually is. It's like, you don't have to be cynical with children, but you also don't have to lie to them and tell them that your life is great. You can be real with kids, it's alright. And the presentation of that was very nice. I enjoyed it very much. I wish that they focused more on that idea than they did with the fairly basic and standard toy-based horror that they actually went through. Is just focusing on that idea. Like, you could write so much with that. I'm kind of hoping that her interrogation does more with that idea. I'm gonna be so sad if it doesn't. Because it's such a cool idea. I briefly explored it in one of my characters. Unintentionally at first. Until I realized just how absolutely messed up this character's situation was. Basically, there was a war in her backstory, and she kind of got dragged into it somewhat at the age of, like, 10. And was not a proper child soldier or anything, and her parents tried to keep her out of it, but where she lived was attacked. And her parents wanted to help out their side, so they had to flee, and then her dad started fighting somewhat, and she wanted to help and basically just did so. Followed some people to try to see what she could do, and got in way over her head there, hid, and managed to get home and tell people what happened. And it was bad. And so she kind of got pulled into that war and was a messenger in it, not an actual combatant or anything, just delivered messages. And her parents never told her what was happening. Did not understand what the fighting was for, just that it had to be done. And then they died before they could explain anything to her. And so there she was, 12 with no idea what just happened, and kind of forced to figure it all out on her own. Well, because no one would actually tell her. Because we're too afraid to talk to kids about serious things. And it bothers me so much. So it was really cool to see that in Path to Nowhere. So I guess I'll make Eve's interrogation next on my list unless I need to read somebody else's for compliance. We'll see when I have time. And man, I really hope that they go into those ideas more. It seemed to be... The Endeavor event seems to be setting it up for that, so here's hoping. Here's hoping. Alright. I have to consult the mesh for its wisdom again. This little guy is not quite going where it needs to go, so gonna ask the mesh for help here. So let's see. Where exactly are all these triangles going? Okay, so it looks like part of this is just I need to straighten out the triangles. That's pretty normal. Always gotta remember that sometimes straightening out triangles can solve all of my problems. I always forget this. I don't know why. But I do. Now then. Man, there's a lot of squirming going on here, though. Might take me a second to get this all into place. I'm thinking about all my characters and all these interesting things coming out of stories is making my brain a little bit scattered. It's alright, it happens sometimes. We're also getting pretty close to the hour mark, so it's not too surprising that my brain is starting to get a little bit tired. Tired and distracted. Not a place you want to be when you're rigging. It's like, oh no. It's okay. I think I still got a bit more life in me. And as always, I do like to go for at least an hour. And I'm having too much fun anyway. Why would I want to stop when I'm having this much fun? See, if I was drawing on my own, this might be where I just get up, walk around for a bit, maybe watch something interesting, clear my mind, clear my eyes. Maybe write out ideas that I have for writing stuff, if I was so inclined. I wouldn't say any of the ideas floating around in my head are comic appropriate, though. At least not for the one that I'm trying to write, so probably wouldn't write those down, but that's okay. Yeah, the game just has so many good ideas. I need to get my husband to watch some of these cutscenes with me. we'll have some other ideas to talk about together, and that sounds like fun. I always very much enjoy talking about these things with them. Gacha games just tend to be a little bit too time-consuming, and they want you to, like, play them every day and stuff like that, and he just does not have that kind of time, and the gameplay itself is probably not something he'd enjoy. And it's like you can watch the cutscenes on my account whenever we are so inclined. There have just been too many other things that we've wanted to do lately. It's like, before this we were playing a bunch of Factorio, and then we kind of had our fill of that, watching speedruns of it. Saw what they did, and it was very interesting. It's super wild, just watching them build the blueprints, and suddenly the factory just triples in size in like, less than a minute. It was super rad. And now we're playing Baldur's Gate 3, which is a fairly long game. And I haven't been very thorough about side questing, and it's still been pretty long. Alright, and I think the mesh has helped me out a lot here. It's getting there. I don't think it's there quite yet. You know, out of all the strands that I had to work on, I was not expecting this one to be one of the hard ones, but I guess it makes sense. Because I am having to change the angle of the highlights a little bit here in order to make them look like they're turning a bit. And I also want to show more of this underneath area, just due to the way the head is turning. So I guess it makes sense that it would be a little bit more difficult than I was giving it credit for. It's alright, little strand. You don't gotta be difficult. Just let me guide you into the right place and all will be well. Alright. Let me see, I think there's some stuff around this highlight too that I want to adjust. Just taking a look. Because yeah, I kind of feel it shifting around there. So let's see, what should I do with this? It's like I'm already in the area, so I might as well just keep working on this strand. Do it for the rest of today. Unless I finish it very quickly. Oh, wouldn't that be lovely? Just comes together super fast and I can work on something else. Man, that strand is very shifty. I think I need to hide it because it's actually bothering me quite a lot. Okay, there we go. Making it a little bit hard to see properly. Alright, but yeah, I think that looks good, so now I just gotta clean up that shape. Make it nice and appropriately round. Get all the angles right. And try to make this area a little bit rounder to show the shape now that her head is turning this direction. So maybe something like this. Something like this. Yeah, that looks much rounder than it did before. Let's see how it looks in motion. Because that's what's important. Oh yeah, that's looking pretty nice, I think. Let me see here. There's also... What layer is that on? Is that part of this bang, or is it part of the hair behind the bang? Okay, so it's part of the bang. Right now I'm looking at this highlight, like here. And if I hide this layer, it should still be there. So yes, this is indeed part of the bang. I think it might be a little bit too floofy. I think I might have just overdone the floof there just a little bit. Let's try to bring that in just a little bit here. I say as I floof out another little spot there, but it's okay. Floofiness is relative. Just gotta get everything to be like equal floof. And it'll look okay. Appropriate levels of floof everywhere for the best results. So I don't know, maybe something like that. Let me turn this back on here. Okay, and I think I also see a little problem down at the bottom there that needs to be floofed out a little bit too. Just need to make down here a little bit rounder. It's like if everything higher up is rounder, then down there needs to be rounder too. It's only fair. Here we go. So let's see how this looks. Let's see here. Not entirely satisfied with how it's moving behind the bang here, so I'm gonna need to hide this. And probably, this too. Okay. So let's see if I can fix some of the awkward movement happening right through here. We'll just get all this equally as round all the way around. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens here. Okay. This is looking a bit better here. I still see a little bit of a wrinkle right there. That's no good at all. Let's try to get rid of this little wrinkle there. And then I think all will be well. Okay. I'm actually going to turn the hair back on, because what I care about is what it looks like with these other hair layers back on. If I get really stuck, then I'll leave them off, but until then, oh yeah, that's much better. That's so much better. I think we're good. Okay, let's see if I can fix up this little strand. He just needs some wisdom from the mesh. Because I think he's in the right spot, right amount of curliness. Just got some vertices that are not in the right place. And the mesh will help me figure out where they need to go. The mesh is just always so full of good ideas. I'm so glad that I figured out how to properly talk to it. Just gotta open your mind and listen. And you'll be able to find guidance from so many things you never thought possible. Who knows? Open your mind to the universe a little bit. Maybe I'll talk to you too. Just listen closely, and I'm sure you can find my voice in the stars. Okay, let's see if that fixed all the annoying shifting that was bothering me enough that I had to literally hide the layer. Autosave, helping me out here. I'm trying to figure out this last little bit. So let's see. Yeah, I think it's looking pretty good. Yeah, okay. And that doesn't quite finish off the entire compressed side, unfortunately, because I still have this guy to deal with. And I don't think my brain is ready. So I think that is where I will stop for today. Oh man, just looking at that, the way it's all going, it looks not great. But it's okay, I'll fix that tomorrow. That'll probably be the first thing I do, and unless I see some other little errors that I just want to fix up first. But this is where I stop for today. So thank you all for coming. If you'd like me to take a look at your own creative projects, whether that be art, writing, coding, game design, or any creative pursuit you can think of, feel free to message or at me on the social media platform of your choice, and I'll take a look and maybe leave some comments. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.